She always felt things too much. That's what everyone told her, anyway, when she was little. She would cry at movies that weren't even sad. When her friends argued, she would feel their pain in her chest like it was her own. Now, at 28, nothing had changed. If anything, it had gotten worse. Maya worked at the local coffee shop downtown, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's orders by heart. She loved the routine, the familiar faces, the way regular customers would share bits of their lives with her while waiting for their morning fix. But lately, her mind kept wandering to one person in particular. Alex had been her best friend since they were kids. They grew up 3 houses apart on Maple Street, spent summers riding bikes and winters building snow forts. When they were 16, Alex's family moved away for his dad's job. She remembered crying for weeks, feeling like part of her had been ripped away. They stayed in touch through texts and social media, but it wasn't the same. Last month, Alex moved back to town. He got a job at the marketing firm across from her coffee shop, and suddenly, after 12 years, he was part of her daily life again. The first time he walked through her door, her heart nearly stopped. He looked different, taller, more confident, wearing a crisp button-down shirt instead of the band t-shirt she remembered. But his smile was exactly the same. "Maya, I can't believe this place is still here," he had said, looking round at the mismatched chairs and local art covering the walls. "Remember when we used to come here after school and split one hot chocolate because we could only afford one between us?" She remembered everything. That was her problem. She remembered too much, felt too much, held onto moments like they were precious gems she could polish and admire whenever she needed comfort. They fell back into friendship easily. Alex would stop by every morning for his coffee, black, no sugar, just like when they were teenagers sneaking sips from his mom's cup. They would talk about work, about the town, about mutual friends who had moved away or gotten married or started families. Normal stuff, safe stuff. But Maya felt the undercurrent of something else, something that made her stomach flutter and her cheeks warm. She told herself it was just nostalgia, just the comfort of having her oldest friend back in her life. She almost believed it. Then Alex started bringing someone with him. Her name was Lily, and she was everything Maya wasn't. Petite where Maya was tall, quiet where Maya was chatty, graceful where Maya felt clumsy. Lily worked at the art gallery downtown and wore vintage dresses that looked effortless and expensive. When Alex introduced them, Maya smiled and said all the right things, but inside, something twisted and broke. "Lily is amazing," Alex told her one morning when Lily was running late. "She sees beauty in everything." Yesterday she spent 20 minutes watching a butterfly in her garden and then painted this incredible watercolor of it. "I've never met anyone so peaceful." Maya nodded and made his coffee, her hand steady even though her heart was racing. Peaceful. She had never been called peaceful. Intense, overwhelming, too much. Those were the words people used for her. She was the friend who felt other people's breakups like they were her own, who cried at commercials, who remembered every birthday and anniversary and small moment that mattered. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Alex and Lily and the way he looked when he talked about her. There was something soft in his eyes, something Maya had never seen before. She wondered if anyone would ever look at her that way. She started paying attention to things she had never noticed before. The way Alex's voice changed when he answered Lily's calls. How he would check his phone more often on days when Lily was working late. The careful way he talked about their plans together, like he was protecting something precious. Maya found herself creating stories in her head. Maybe Alex was just settling. Maybe Lily was nice, but boring. Maybe if Maya reminded him of all their shared history, all the ways they understood each other that no one else could, he would realize what he was missing. She started small, mentioning memories from their childhood when Lily was around, bringing up inside jokes that made Alex laugh but left Lily looking confused, recommending books she knew Alex would love, books that Lily probably wouldn't understand. "Remember that summer when we built that fort in your backyard?" she asked one morning. handing Alex his coffee while Lily browsed the pastry case. "We spent weeks on it, and then your dog destroyed it in 5 minutes?" Alex laughed. The sound warm and familiar. Chester was such a troublemaker. I was so mad. "But you just said we should build it stronger next time. You always knew how to make things better." Maya felt a rush of satisfaction. This was what she was good at, being the person who understood, who remembered, who cared about the details. Lily might be beautiful and artistic, but Maya had history. She had roots that went deep, connections that couldn't be painted or photographed or displayed in a gallery. But at the same time, she felt something else, a weight in her chest that grew heavier each day. She was tired of feeling everything so intensely, tired of carrying emotions that seemed too big for her body. When Alex looked happy, she felt happy. When he seemed stressed, she worried. When he talked about Lily, she felt a jealousy so sharp it took her breath away. Her sister called it emotional sensitivity. Her therapist, back when she could afford therapy, called it empathy. Maya just called it exhausting. She started wondering if this was why she stayed single, why her relationships never lasted more than a few months. Men would be drawn to her warmth, her ability to listen and understand and care. But then they would pull back, overwhelmed by the intensity of her feelings. The way she made their problems her problems, their joy her joy. You feel too much. Her last boyfriend had told her before he left, "It's like you're drowning in emotions all the time, and you want to pull everyone else under with you." Maybe he was right. Maybe she did feel too much. But wasn't that better than feeling nothing at all? Wasn't it better to care deeply than to drift through life untouched and unchanged? As she watched Alex and Lily together, Maya made a decision. She wouldn't give up. She wouldn't let 12 years of friendship slip away because some girl had caught his attention. She would remind him of who she was, of what they had together. She would make him think about her the way she thought about him. Because if there was one thing Maya knew how to do, it was feel. And if feeling everything was her curse, maybe it could also be her strength. Maya started planning without even realizing she was planning. It began with small things, innocent things that felt natural and right. She would check the weather each morning and text Alex if rain was coming. "Don't forget your umbrella today." She would write, adding a smiley face to keep it light and friendly. When Alex mentioned he was stressed about a big presentation at work, Maya brought him his favorite cookies from the bakery next door. "I remember these were your favorites when we were kids," she said, watching his face light up with surprise and gratitude. "You always remember everything," he told her, and something warm spread through her chest. "Lily says I'm terrible with details, but you notice things." She did notice things. She noticed that Alex still tapped his fingers when he was nervous, just like in high school. She noticed that he always ordered extra coffee on Mondays because he stayed up too late on Sunday nights. She noticed that he wore his lucky blue tie on important days, the same shade of blue as the shirt he wore to prom 12 years ago. Maya started keeping track of these details in a small notebook she hid in her purse. Not in a creepy way, she told herself, just so she could be a better friend, just so she could show him that someone was paying attention. She began timing her breaks to match when Alex usually came in, if she saw him across the street, heading toward the coffee shop. She would quickly fix her hair and put on fresh lip gloss. She wanted to look effortless, the kind of naturally pretty that didn't require trying too hard. "You've been looking nice lately," her coworker Jennifer commented one afternoon. "New boyfriend?" Maya blushed. "No, just trying to take better care of myself." But that wasn't entirely true. She was trying to be the version of herself that Alex would notice, would remember, would think about when he was with someone else. She started showing up at places where she knew Alex might be. The grocery store where his mom used to shop and where she had seen him buying dinner ingredients. The park where they used to hang out as teenagers. Now jogging past at the exact time she had seen him there before. Maya, what a surprise, Alex would say when their paths crossed, and she would act casual, like running into him was pure coincidence. "Oh hey, I was just picking up some things for dinner," she would say, holding up her carefully selected shopping basket, items she had chosen because she remembered they were his favorites. She became an expert at creating reasons to text him, funny memes that reminded her of inside jokes they shared, photos from their childhood that she would randomly find while cleaning out old boxes, articles about topics she knew interested him. Thought you might find this interesting, she would write, attaching a piece about marketing trends or local history or whatever she thought might catch his attention for a few minutes. Alex always responded kindly. He would thank her for thinking of him, share his own thoughts about whatever she had sent, sometimes even call her instead of texting back. Those phone calls became the highlight of Maya's days. She would replay them in her mind afterward, analyzing every word, every pause, every laugh. She started suggesting activities that she knew would appeal to him. There's a new art exhibit downtown that Lily might like, she would mention casually. Maybe we could all go together sometime. Then she would spend hours researching the artists and the pieces, so she could have intelligent things to say, so she could prove she was cultured and interesting too. When they did hang out as a group, Maya made sure to position herself as the person who knew Alex best. She would finish his sentences, reference memories that Lily couldn't share, laugh at jokes before he even finished telling them. "You'd have such a special friendship," Lily said one evening after Maya had told a particularly funny story about their teenage adventures. There was something in her voice that Maya couldn't quite read. Appreciation, curiosity, or maybe something else. Maya felt a thrill of victory mixed with guilt. She wasn't trying to make Lily feel left out. She was just being herself, being the friend she had always been to Alex. If that highlighted how well she knew him, how deep their connection ran, well, that wasn't her fault. She started paying closer attention to what Alex posted on social media, liking his photos within minutes of him posting them. She would comment with inside references that showed their history together. When he posted a photo of his coffee, she would write, "Hope that's not too strong for you. Remember what happened in senior year when you had 3 espressos before the math test." These comments always got likes from Alex, and sometimes he would respond with laughing emojis or his own memories. Maya would screenshot these interactions and look at them later, proof that she still mattered to him, that their shared past meant something. She began crafting her own social media presence around things that would appeal to Alex. She would post photos of books she knew he had mentioned wanting to read, or pictures of places around town that held memories for both of them. She never tagged him directly. That would seem too obvious, but she knew he would see them, know they were meant for him. The more effort Maya put into staying in Alex's thoughts, the more consumed she became with wondering if it was working. She would analyze his responses to her texts, timing how long it took him to reply, reading meaning into every word choice and punctuation mark. When he used an exclamation point, it meant he was genuinely happy to hear from her. When he responded with just thanks instead of thank you, it meant he was distracted. Probably with Lily, when he took more than an hour to respond. Maya would check Lily's social media to see if they were together. She created elaborate theories about their relationship based on tiny clues. If Alex seemed tired, maybe he and Lily had been fighting. If he ordered decaf instead of regular coffee, maybe he was stressed about something. If he didn't mention Lily for several days, maybe they were having problems. Maya started feeling like a detective in her own life, constantly gathering evidence and building cases for why Alex should choose her instead. Every kind gesture she made, every memory she shared, every moment of understanding between them became proof that she was the right person for him. She told herself she wasn't being manipulative. She was just being a good friend, just showing Alex how much she cared. If that made him realize what he had been missing, what they could have together, then that was just the natural result of genuine friendship. But late at night, when she was alone with her thoughts, Maya sometimes wondered if she was losing herself in this process. She spent so much time thinking about Alex, planning ways to connect with him, analyzing their interactions, that she barely had energy left for anything else. Her other friendships started to fade as she became increasingly focused on Alex. Her Hobbies felt less important than finding new ways to stay in his life. Even her work suffered as she spent her shifts watching for him through the coffee shop window, preparing for their daily conversations. But it felt worth it when Alex smiled at her, when he laughed at something she said, when he told her she was the only person who really understood him. Those moments made all the effort, all the planning, all the constant thinking feel justified. Maya convinced herself that her intensity was her strength, while other people loved casually, surface level. She loved with her whole heart. While other people forgot the small details, she remembered everything. While other people moved on, she stayed loyal. She was building something with Alex, something that went deeper than whatever he had with Lily. She just had to be patient, had to keep reminding him of who she was and what they meant to each other. Soon, Maya thought, he would see what was right in front of him. The words hit Maya like a punch to the stomach. She was standing behind the coffee counter, wiping down the same spot for the third time, when she heard Alex talking to his coworker near the window. Maya, oh, she's like a sister to me, Alex said with a casual laugh. We've known each other forever. She's family, you know, sister, family. The words echoed in Maya's head as she watched Alex's coworker nod and smile. They were talking about weekend plans, and someone had asked if Maya was Alex's girlfriend. The question that had made her heart skip a beat had been answered so easily, so carelessly, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Maya forced herself to keep moving, to keep working, to act like she hadn't heard anything. But inside, something was cracking apart. Sister. After everything she had done, all the care she had put into their friendship, all the ways she had tried to show him she was more than just a childhood memory, he still saw her as family. That night, Maya lay in bed replaying the conversation over and over. She analyzed Alex's tone, the way he had said it, whether there might have been some deeper meaning she was missing. Maybe he was just protecting their privacy. Maybe he didn't want his coworkers knowing his personal business. Maybe he was confused about his own feelings and using safe words to hide behind. The more she thought about it, the more convinced she became that this was actually good news. If Alex saw her as family, that meant she was important to him. That meant she was permanent in his life in a way that girlfriends weren't. Sisters didn't get replaced. Sisters didn't get forgotten. Maya started paying even closer attention to everything Alex did and said. She began to see signs everywhere that maybe his feelings for her were deeper than he was admitting. Even to himself, when he complimented her new haircut, she wondered if he was noticing her as more than a friend. When he texted her late at night asking if she was still awake because he couldn't sleep, she imagined him lying in bed thinking about her instead of Lily. When he seemed distracted during their conversations, she convinced herself he was struggling with feelings he didn't know how to express. Every interaction became a puzzle for Maya to solve. She would spend hours thinking about a simple conversation, looking for hidden meanings in the most innocent comments. If Alex said her coffee was especially good that day, maybe it meant he was paying special attention to everything she did. If he lingered a few extra minutes at the counter, maybe it meant he didn't want to leave her. Maya started feeling everything with an intensity that scared her. When Alex was happy, she felt like she could fly. When he seemed sad or stressed, she felt physically ill with worry. When she saw him laughing with Lily, jealousy would wash over her so strongly that she had to excuse herself to the bathroom to breathe. Her emotions became like weather systems that she couldn't control. One moment she would be on top of the world because Alex had sent her a funny meme, and the next she would be devastated because he had mentioned plans with Lily. That didn't include her. You seem different lately, her friend Rachel said during one of their rare coffee dates. Are you okay? You keep checking your phone and you seem, I don't know, wound up about something. Maya wanted to tell Rachel everything. She wanted to explain about Alex and the complicated feelings and the way her heart felt too big for her chest most days. But she also knew that Rachel wouldn't understand. Rachel was practical and logical. She would tell Maya to move on, to find someone available, to stop torturing herself. I'm fine, Maya said instead. just work stuff. But she wasn't fine. She was feeling everything too much, too intensely, too constantly. She felt Alex's moods like they were her own. She felt Lily's presence in Alex's life like a physical ache. She felt the weight of her own secrets and hopes pressing down on her shoulders every day. Maya began to think that maybe this intensity was what made her special. Maybe other people loved in small, careful ways, but she loved with her whole being. Maybe that's why Alex kept her close, even if he didn't understand it yet. Maybe her ability to feel everything so deeply was exactly what he needed. Even if he was too scared or confused to admit it, she started wearing her emotions like armor. When people told her she was too sensitive or too intense, she reminded herself that at least she wasn't cold and distant. At least she cared about things that mattered. At least she was real in a world full of people who were afraid to feel anything. Maya convinced herself that Lily was probably one of those shallow people who skated through life without ever really experiencing anything profound. Sure, she was pretty and artistic, but did she stay awake at night thinking about Alex's problems? Did she remember every story he told, every worry he shared? Did she love him enough to feel his pain as her own? The more Maya thought about it, the more certain she became that what she and Alex had was deeper than anything he could have with someone like Lily. Their connection went back years. It was built on shared memories and side jokes, moments of real understanding that had to count for something, that had to be worth more than whatever surface-level attraction he felt for his girlfriend. Maya started testing this theory. She would bring up serious topics when the three of them were together. Things that required real thought and emotional depth. She would watch to see how Lily responded, looking for proof that she was as shallow as Maya suspected. When Alex mentioned feeling stressed about his dad's health problems, Maya immediately offered to drive him to the next doctor's appointment. To be there for moral support, Lily just rubbed his shoulder and said she was sorry he was worried. Maya saw this as evidence that she was the one who really understood how to support him. When Alex talked about missing his childhood dog who had passed away the year before, Maya shared her own memories of that same dog, stories about summer afternoons in Alex's backyard when they were kids. Lily listened politely, but had nothing to add. Again, Maya felt vindicated. She was the one with real history, real connection. Every day became an emotional marathon for Maya. She would wake up thinking about Alex, spend her day looking for signs and signals in their interactions, and go to bed analyzing everything that had happened. She felt like she was living three lives at once: her regular life, the life she imagined she could have with Alex, and the complex internal life where she processed every feeling and possibility. Her friends started to notice that Maya was always distracted, always checking her phone, always ready to drop plans if Alex needed something. But Maya told herself this was what love looked like. This was what it meant to really care about someone. She began to feel proud of her intensity, even as it exhausted her. Other people might love casually, but Maya loved with purpose. Other people might give up when things got complicated, but Maya was willing to fight for what mattered. Other people might be satisfied with surface-level connections, but Maya wanted something real and deep and transformative. Late at night, when the coffee shop was closed, and she was alone with her thoughts, Maya would sometimes feel overwhelmed by the weight of everything she was carrying. The hope, the fear, the constant analysis, the desperate need for Alex to see her the way she saw him. But then she would remember the way he smiled when she brought him his favorite cookies, or how he always answered her texts, or the way he had said she was the only person who really understood him. Those moments made everything else worth a dot. Maya was determined to keep feeling everything, to keep caring with her whole heart, to keep believing that her intensity was her strength. Because if love wasn't supposed to feel this overwhelming, this all-consuming, this important, then what was the point of feeling anything at all? Maya stared at herself in the bathroom mirror, practicing the words she would say. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. This was it. This was her moment to find out if everything she had been feeling, all the signs she thought she had been seeing, meant anything at all. She had been planning this for weeks. The idea came to her during one of those sleepless nights, when she couldn't stop thinking about Alex and Lily, and the way things were supposed to be different. She needed to create a situation that would force Alex to show his true feelings. She needed to know, once and for all, if he cared about her the way she cared about him. Maya had applied for a job in Seattle, not because she wanted to move across the country, but because she needed Alex to think she might. She needed him to imagine life without her, to feel that panic of potentially losing someone important. She had gone through the whole application process, even had a phone interview, just to make it real enough to be believable. Now she was going to tell Alex that they offered her the position. She would watch his face carefully, looking for signs of distress, of realization, of the moment when he understood that he couldn't let her go. Maya walked back to the coffee counter, where Alex was sitting at his usual table, scrolling through his phone while waiting for Lily to meet him for lunch. This was perfect timing. She would have his full attention, and she would be able to see his unguarded reaction. "Alex," she said, sitting down across from him, "I need to tell you something important." He looked up immediately, concern flashing across his face. "What's wrong? You look serious." Maya took a deep breath. "I got a job offer in Seattle at a really great marketing firm." She paused, watching his expression. "It's exactly the kind of opportunity I've been dreaming about." Alex's eyebrows shot up. "Maya, that's incredible. Congratulations." He reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "I'm so proud of you. When did this happen?" This wasn't the reaction she had been expecting. Where was the panic, the desperate plea for her to stay, the sudden realization that he couldn't imagine life without her? "They want me to start in 6 weeks," Maya continued, hoping to see some crack in his enthusiasm. "It means I'll have to leave everything behind, everyone I care about. 6 weeks." Alex repeated, nodding thoughtfully. "That's soon, but it gives you time to plan everything properly. Have you started looking at apartments? Seattle's got a crazy housing market, but I bet you'll figure it out. You're so good at planning things." Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. Alex was being supportive, genuinely, completely supportive. There was no selfishness in his reaction, no hint that he wanted her to stay for his sake. "You're not sad about me leaving?" she asked, trying to keep her voice casual. Alex tilted his head, studying her face. "Of course I'm sad. I'll miss you like crazy. But Maya, this is your chance to do something amazing with your life. I've watched you work in that coffee shop for years, and I know you're capable of so much more. This is your moment." "But what about us?" The words slipped out before Maya could stop them. "What about our friendship? What about all the memories we have here?" "Our friendship isn't going anywhere," Alex said firmly. "Distance doesn't change that. We survived 12 years apart before, didn't we? And now we have video calls and social media and all kinds of ways to stay connected. Plus, I'll have an excuse to visit Seattle." Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. This was going all wrong. Alex was supposed to realize how much he needed her. He was supposed to fight for her, to ask her to stay, to finally admit that what they had was more than friendship. "What does Lily think about it?" Maya asked, grasping for something. "Anything that might reveal deeper feelings. I haven't told her yet, but she'll be excited for you too. She's always saying how talented you are, how you deserve better than serving coffee to the same people every day." Alex smiled. "She'll probably want to throw you a going-away party." The words hit Maya like slaps. Lily thought she was talented. Lily wanted to celebrate her leaving. Lily wasn't threatened by her at all, because there was nothing to be threatened by. "Maybe I shouldn't take it," Maya said desperately. "Maybe it's too big a change. Maybe I should stay here where I belong." Alex frowned. "Maya, you can't make decisions based on fear. This job could change your whole life. You'd regret it forever if you didn't try." Just then, Lily appeared at their table, looking apologetic. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was horrible." She kissed Alex's cheek and sat down, then noticed Maya's expression. "Is everything okay?" "Maya got offered an amazing job in Seattle," Alex said, his voice full of pride. "Tell her, Maya." Maya found herself explaining the fake job offer to Lily, watching as the other woman's face lit up with genuine excitement and happiness. There was no jealousy, no relief at the thought of Maya leaving town. Just pure joy for someone she considered a friend. "That's wonderful," Lily exclaimed. "Seattle has such an incredible art scene too. You'll love it there. And think of all the new experiences you'll have, all the new people you'll meet, new people." Maya realized that both Alex and Lily were thinking about her building a life that didn't revolve around them. They were imagining her happy and successful and independent, not pining away for what she was leaving behind. "I should probably get back to work," Maya said, standing up abruptly. "I need to think about all of this." "Of course," Alex said. "This is huge. Take your time to process everything." He stood up and hugged her, and Maya felt how natural and easy it was for him, how uncomplicated, how completely, utterly platonic. Maya spent the rest of her shift in a daze. Every time she looked over at Alex and Lily having lunch, she saw how comfortable they were together, how they shared food and inside jokes and gentle touches that spoke of real intimacy, how they looked at each other like they were exactly where they belonged. That evening, Maya sat in her apartment staring at her phone. She had a voicemail from the Seattle company asking about her start date. She had emails from friends who had heard about the job opportunity through the small-town grapevine. She had a text from her mom saying how proud she was. Everyone thought this was real. Everyone thought she was brave and ambitious and making smart choices for her future. But Maya knew the truth. She had created this elaborate lie because she was desperate for one person to care enough to ask her to stay. And that person had instead encouraged her to go. For the first time in months, Maya saw herself clearly. She saw how much energy she had put into analyzing Alex's every word and gesture. She saw how she had convinced herself that normal friendship behaviors were signs of deeper feelings. She saw how she had created an entire fantasy relationship in her head while Alex was living his real life with someone else. The worst part wasn't that Alex didn't love her the way she loved him. The worst part was that he did love her, just not in the way she wanted. He loved her enough to want her to be happy, even if it meant losing the daily comfort of her presence. He loved her enough to celebrate her successes without making them about himself. He loved her the way you love family, the way you love people who matter to you but don't complete you. Maya realized she had been so focused on making Alex think about her that she had stopped thinking about what was actually best for either of them. She had been so consumed with the idea of being chosen that she had forgotten to choose herself. Sitting there in her quiet apartment, surrounded by the evidence of her deception, Maya felt something shift inside her. The constant buzzing anxiety that had been her companion for months started to quiet. The desperate need to analyze and plan and control started to fade. She looked at her phone again and saw a text from Alex. "I know this is scary, but I'm really proud of you. You're going to do amazing things for the first time in a long time." Maya didn't spend an hour analyzing what he meant. She didn't look for hidden messages or deeper meanings. She just read the words of a friend who cared about her happiness more than his own convenience. Maya realized she had a choice to make. She could keep living in the fantasies she had created, keep pretending that intensity and desperation were the same thing as love, or she could finally start learning the difference between feeling deeply and drowning in her own emotions. The Seattle job was real, even if her reasons for applying weren't. Maybe it was time to stop trying so hard to be unforgettable and start trying to remember who she actually was. Maya sat in Dr. Chen's office, staring at the tissue box on the small table between them. 3 weeks had passed since the Seattle job disaster, and she still felt like she was walking around with her skin turned inside out, every nerve exposed and raw. "Tell me about the letter," Dr. Chen said gently. Maya had mentioned it at the end of their last session, how she had written Alex a long letter explaining everything, her feelings, her schemes, her months of desperate attempts to make him see her differently. She had poured everything onto paper, every secret hope and painful realization. "I wrote it all down," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. Every feeling I've been carrying around, every stupid thing I did to try to get his attention. Every time I convinced myself that normal friendship was something more. She had spent an entire night writing that letter, page after page of raw honesty about her feelings, her behavior, her elaborate plans to stay in Alex's thoughts. She had written about the notebook where she tracked his moods, about timing her breaks to see him, about all the ways she had tried to prove she was better for him than Lily. It felt good to write it all down, Maya continued. Like I was finally being honest about everything I'd been hiding from myself. And what did you do with the letter once you finished it? Maya took a shaky breath. I almost sent it. I got dressed, walked to his apartment, stood outside his door for 20 minutes with the letter in my hand. She remembered that night clearly, how her heart had pounded, how she had raised her hand to knock a dozen times before pulling it back. But then I realized that sending it would just be another way of trying to control the situation, another way of making my feelings his problem to solve. Maya looked up at Dr. Chen, so I came home and burned it in my kitchen sink. It had been surprisingly hard to let the letter go. Watching the pages curl and blacken felt like watching months of her life disappear, but it also felt like releasing something that had been weighing her down for too long. How did that feel? Scary, Maya admitted, but also free? Like I was finally keeping my feelings to myself instead of trying to make them everyone else's. Responsibility? Dr. Chen nodded. You mentioned last week that you've been thinking about the difference between feeling deeply and drowning in emotions. Can you tell me more about that? Maya had been thinking about it constantly. She was starting to understand that her intensity wasn't the problem. It was what she had been doing with that intensity that had caused so much pain. I used to think that feeling everything so strongly made me special, Maya said. Like I was more real than other people, more genuine. But I was using my emotions as an excuse to do things that weren't fair to anyone. She thought about all the times she had claimed her actions came from love, when really they came from fear and desperation. The way she had convinced herself that manipulation was just caring deeply, that obsession was just loyalty. I was drowning in my own feelings and trying to pull other people down with me, Maya continued. I thought that if I could make Alex feel as consumed as I felt, that would somehow prove we belonged together. The truth was harder to accept than Maya had expected. She had spent so many years being proud of her emotional intensity that learning to see it differently felt like losing a piece of her identity. I've been learning that real love isn't about making someone think about you all the time, she said. It's about wanting them to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't include you. Maya had started paying attention to how Alex and Lily were together. Not to look for problems or weaknesses, but to understand what healthy love actually looked like. She watched how they supported each other's dreams, how they gave each other space to be individuals, how they didn't try to own or control each other's emotions. I realized that I never actually wanted Alex to be happy, Maya said, the words feeling strange in her mouth. I wanted him to choose me. I wanted him to need me. But I didn't really care if that would actually make his life better. Dr. Chen leaned forward slightly. What would have made his life better? Maya thought about it. Having a friend who supported his relationship instead of undermining it. Having someone who celebrated his happiness instead of resenting it. Having someone who cared about his feelings instead of just trying to change them. It was painful to admit, but Maya was starting to see that her version of love had been entirely selfish. She had been so focused on her own needs, her own pain, her own desire to be chosen, that she had never really considered what Alex actually wanted or needed. I've been trying to figure out how to be a better friend, Maya said, not because I'm hoping he'll fall in love with me, but because he deserves better than what I was giving him. Maya had started small. She stopped timing her breaks to coincide with Alex's visits to the coffee shop. She deleted the notebook where she had been tracking his moods and behaviors. She unfollowed Lily on social media so she wouldn't be tempted to analyze their relationship. When Alex texted her, she responded naturally instead of crafting perfect messages designed to make him think of her. When he mentioned Lily, Maya practiced saying positive things instead of subtle criticisms. When he seemed happy, she let herself be happy for him without searching for hidden meanings. It's harder than I expected, Maya admitted, being genuinely supportive instead of strategically supportive, but it also feels more real. The strangest thing was that as Maya stopped trying so hard to be important to Alex, their friendship actually improved. Their conversations became more natural, more honest. Alex seemed more relaxed around her, more like the friend she remembered from childhood. I think he was picking up on something before, Maya said. Some tension or neediness that I thought I was hiding, but probably wasn't. Now that I'm not constantly wanting something from him, we can just be friends. Maya had also started paying attention to other parts of her life that she had neglected while obsessing over Alex. She reconnected with friends she had been ignoring, picked up hobbies she had abandoned, started thinking about what she actually wanted for her future instead of just fantasizing about being chosen by someone else. The Seattle job is still available, Maya said. They extended the deadline because I asked for more time to consider. I think I might actually take it, this time. The idea of moving across the country felt like an adventure instead of a desperate gambit. Maya was starting to see possibilities for her life. That didn't revolve around being loved by someone who wasn't available. I used to think that leaving town would mean giving up on love, she said. But I'm starting to think that staying here and waiting for something that's never going to happen would be giving up on myself. Dr. Chen smiled. What's changed in how you think about love? Maya considered the question. I used to think love was about intensity, about feeling everything so strongly that it took over your whole life. But I'm learning that real love is actually pretty calm. It's about caring for someone without needing to own them. It's about wanting good things for them even when those good things don't include you. She thought about Alex and Lily, how easy and natural they were together, how they seemed to bring out the best in each other without trying so hard, without needing constant reassurance or proof of their importance. I want to learn how to love like that, Maya said. Not just romantic love, but friendship love, family love, self-love. I want to care about people without drowning in my feelings about them. Maya knew she still had a long way to go. Her emotions still felt bigger and more intense than most people's, and she still had to fight the urge to analyze every interaction for hidden meanings. But she was learning to sit with her feelings without needing to act on them, to feel deeply without letting those feelings control her choices. I wrote another letter to Alex, Maya said, but this one I'm definitely not sending. This letter was different. Instead of confessing her feelings or trying to change anything, she had written about forgiveness, forgiving herself for the months of desperate behavior, and forgiving Alex for not being able to love her the way she had wanted. The letter ended with a promise to herself to learn the difference between loving someone and needing them, between feeling deeply and drowning in emotion, between being unforgettable and being genuinely worthy of remembering. Maya folded that letter and put it in her jewelry box, not as a secret weapon or a backup plan, but as a reminder of how far she had come and how much further she wanted to go. For the first time in months, Maya felt like she was swimming instead of sinking. Her emotions were still deep, still powerful, but now she was learning to navigate them instead of being swept away. And that felt like the beginning of everything.